I read every single Webtoon series that came out in the month of May, so you don't have to. The good, it is never a series I thought I would really be enjoying, but it's kind of great, actually. The confusing, let's get divorced. And he says no! He says no! And, well, the questionable. There's been like 3 or 4 Webtoon series that have started with just, I don't know why I'm beating around the bush, with just like a sex scene. This is Coffee Break. Welcome back, everyone, to Coffee Break. Coffee Break is a segment I do because I want to talk about Webtoon series, but I don't really have time to script, edit, record, and do all that fun stuff. So this is truly just like unscripted feelings about stuff that's come out in the past month. I did one last month for, what came out? April. For April series. I'm doing one this month for May series. Hopefully we can continue doing this. Some quick side notes about last time. Someone said I sounded incredibly stressed out, and I was. There's a reason I don't do live streams. I don't think I'd be good at live streams. I'm too nervous. Too nervous all the time, and I want to do the best job that I can for you guys. So in my mind, it's like, oh, I need to know what I need to say all the time, even though it's specifically unscripted. I'm supposed to have fun with it. I'm not supposed to stress out about it. But also moving on from this point on, we're gonna do something a little more fun as well. We're gonna be doing bingo. What that means is throughout the video, we're going to be playing a bingo game, basically. We're going to be going through all the series. We're going to be going through, like, specific tropes and cliches that Webtoon kind of not likes to rely on, but likes to fall back on. I have here a list. You can't see them all because I cover it. Sorry about that. But I have here a list of, like, a bunch of different tropes and cliches. Things that Webtoon does frequently: isekais, reverse isekais, Merryweather series, long titles, F to S ranker. There's some that are pretty obvious, like just talking about specific tropes or cliches. There are some that are a little more up to interpretation. It's Trashta, if you don't know, Remarried Empress, or what is it? Marry My Husband. You know, it's kind of that cliche of a sweet, innocent girl who's very malicious and toxic, and secretly manipulative kind of character. There's also Chronically Single, which you don't have to worry about. These are a bunch of tropes using this website, bingobaker.com. Bingobaker.com is such a funny title. Using this website, I'm going to generate and randomize all these tropes. That way I'm doing it here, so you believe me. I think it'd be fun if, like, hey, if I win, you guys do something, and if I lose, you guys leave, like, a quote-unquote punishment. It can't be anything too severe. I'm not gonna stake my reputation on bingo losing or winning, but, like, something fun. I remember last time I did, like, a bet. It was for Unordinary, Blake's vigilante superhero name. And I remember the comment I would have done if I lost was a parody of a love song, or like a cover of a love song. So something along those lines. Doesn't necessarily have to be a cover, but something along those lines I think would be fun if I win or I lose. And also, it's also a secret way of making you stick around to the end. So we're gonna go through a bunch of the series that have come out. Let me just quickly generate this, and then I'll cut out any nonsense that happens. I know when you generate it, it gives you a bunch of sheets, and then we're gonna use a random number generator to select the specific sheets. There you go. Now you can see it. So let's generate this. It is opened. And then using a random number generator, we're going to choose which sheets we want to do. So using this random number generator, it is sheet 3. Sheet 3 is this one. You can see right here, this is the sheet we're using. So now you know I can't cheat. So now you know the specific tropes. One is not included. I don't know which one. This is truly the first time I'm looking at it. I'm gonna put this off on the side screen. But we're gonna get into our first series that's come out in the month of May, which is Winter Before Spring. Winter Before Spring is a GL romance story that takes place in, I believe, high school, focusing on Hana and her tumultuous, is that the right word? Is that how you pronounce it? her difficulty in getting into a relationship. It is primarily a GL romance story. I honestly can't think of a male main character, but it is primarily a GL romance story in high school. I joked recently that with a lot of GL, there's like a big difference between GL and BL, right? And with the biggest difference you can tell is that a BL romance story is so cute and so fluffy and so sweet and so blushy, and man, is a GL just sad most of the time, just heartbreaking. And this GL is tragic. It is a bummer a lot of the time. The first, I'd say 7 to 8 episodes are heartbreaking because it focuses on Hana learning that she is interested more in girls than guys, and then her falling in love with her best friend, and then her best friend finding out that she likes girls, but then is like, hey, we can date, but we can date in secret. And then you're like, oh no. And then you see kind of how poorly their relationship goes, how much their best friend and girlfriend, if we can scroll down, how much their best friend and their girlfriend kind of uses her, and for lack of a better term, kind of puts down what Hana likes, just is not a good person, basically. And I just complete transparency, I read this at like a gas station getting gas because I was on my way back home, and I was like, oh, a new series came out, let me quickly check it out. And man, did I leave that gas station truly heartbroken, because with 3 episodes out, oh my goodness, those 3 episodes are tragic. I'd say it's weirdly not a series for, if you want a cute GL romance, it's not this. I'm saying I am reading it, and I do think it is going in a better direction now. But truly, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we ended the episode, girl was crying herself to sleep. Like, that's kind of what you're getting into here. This is her toxic best friend and girlfriend, who truly just manipulates her, basically. They, okay, yeah, here's where she finds out, and then they start dating, and it's very cute, but then you kind of see the, her toxicity. It's pretty tragically sad. It's very sad. It's hard to pitch as a good series because I think it is going in a good direction now, but man, was it heartbreaking. I'm not sure I'd recommend it for like another month. Like, I think it's finally starting to get a little happier because there's a new girl who's very clearly interested in Hana and interested in like the things that Hana likes. Meanwhile, I think Minji was her name, I forgot, or her ex-girlfriend and ex-best friend, but put all the things that she liked down. It was just a bad person overall. So it is now going into a better spot. But I think if you're not strong of heart, to say the least, I think maybe wait a little bit before you get into it. Another quick thing to note, I want to see if I can find it. The adults in this series are so, this is a child, by the way, this is a high schooler. I think that is another thing about high school series, they do draw high schoolers in more they look more mature than they actually are. I do want to look. They draw all the like grown-ups, like not provocatively, but like in a way where I think some of the comments say mommy a lot, and I can't be like, I can't say like I don't see where they're coming from, but it's you know, that kind of, oh, here's she getting bullied. It's hard. There's like a gym teacher that I'm specifically thinking about. It's kind of that kind of thing. But overall, I'm enjoying it now. But it is kind of like a heartbreaking series of bullying. Here's one of them, of bullying, of pain. It's and homophobia. It's a tough pill to swallow, but hopefully it's getting somewhere better now. So we can move on to our next series, Reincarnator. Feels like kind of like every other reverse isekai kind of thing, where it's about a character who goes back in time. Basically, it's that kind of trope of their skills, their stats, there's monsters that come in, and then you have to fight and you have to survive. But then we follow a guy who didn't survive technically to the end, who survived the longest with his like group of 4. I forget where is this group? Where is this team? Here's the team. Yeah, like these 3, including our main character, are like the last standing people of humanity. And then they decide to send our main character back in time so he can have another chance to save the world, basically. Like, that's the trope. And it's a very common trope, I'll say. We can quickly as well mark off. Do we have it on our bingo? It is Reincarnator and also Canvas Greenlight. Canvas Greenlight was the Winter Before Spring. That completely skipped my mind. And we also have a regression series. Boom! Yeah, that's 2 in a row. I'm winning this bingo. We can go back. It is an interesting kind of series, I'll say. I am enjoying it. I am very much enjoying this series. But there is definitely what's the right word here? It's very cliched. And I think the thing is, it knows it's a little cliched. It knows it's a little basic. But I think instead of trying to create but we're not basic, we have X going on, we have Y going on, and we have all this different stuff, I think it kind of embraces that it is a little more basic and then just kind of has fun with the trope. I'm not gonna say it's like Omniscient Reader, because I don't think it is like Omniscient Reader, but I think it has a very similar premise and style to Omniscient Reader, but it's not as meta, I think. I know in a lot of cases I really like Omniscient Reader, but Omniscient Reader is a hard pitch for someone who isn't already into these kind of series. I think if I had to pitch a series that's like Omniscient Reader to a beginner, it would be Reincarnator, because it touches on those tropes enough, but it's not so meta that it is something that is like confusing to someone. But something I do like about it is our main character. Our main character is obviously gonna be strong, because he's our main character in like an isekai reverse isekai thing. But they give him strength in a very fun way, which has to do with skills. Now, skills are done in a really cool and interesting way, in my opinion. They're dropped from monsters. There's runes that monsters can drop. Oh, here's like the Dokube insert, by the way. There's skills that monsters can drop, right? And those skills can be absorbed by players. And where I know there's one here. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. There's these like rocks that players get, and they usually have like stats, like strength, defense, stamina, recovery, whatever. But there's special ones that have skills. Now, these are cool because I do think it's an interesting take on how to get skills and all that fun stuff. But also because I like our main character's limitations as well. Our main character can't really get skills. He can, but there's a caveat to it. He explains that, skills make you stronger. There's a bunch of different types of skills, a bunch of different rarities of skills. A lot of people can do a lot of different skills. His 2 friends here can have hundreds. One person can have thousands of skills, but he can't. He's different. He can't have hundreds of skills. He can't even have 10 skills. His limit is 7 skills. 7 skills is his limit of how many he can get. He was limited to 7 skills, and he kind of was, so because of that, he wasn't the strongest, but he has a special ability based on that. Since he can only absorb 7, his skills never stop growing, basically. They say it never stop evolving. They continuously grow, and I think that's a cool trade-off. I think with a lot of, with a lot of media about like overpowered characters, there's no trade-off in power. There's no like, oh, he's super weak in this attribute, but he's actually really strong in this attribute. There's no trade-off. They just give him strength, and I think that's it. But I like the trade-off that's going on here. And I also like our main character. He's a little, I think ditzy is the right word. He's a little oblivious, might be a better word as a male. He's just like not 100% like the smartest or the cleverest, but he is, I think, fun. He's a fun person to follow around, to watch, and to see him grow. And it's a reincarnation regression, so you know he knows the future and knows a bunch of stuff he doesn't. It's fun, and I think it has a good balance. And I'm very much enjoying this, and that also was another bingo because of the reincarnation. I got through 2, baby. Let's go. That's next one. Move on to the next one. My Beloved Oppressor does not have anything. Unfortunately and tragically, I do not get anything for My Beloved Oppressor. And My Beloved Oppressor is not a series I'm reading, and it is a very confusing series that I have mixed opinions on, and I will go into it. You will understand my mixed opinions on it based on explaining the series, or explaining the trope. Not the trope, what is it? Not the intro. Just explaining what the series is about. The premise, that's the word. So we have our 2 characters, male lead, female lead. I believe female lead is the more important character, and it is who we follow. Female lead, male lead, they fall in love, they get married, all that stuff. But it's set place in like royalty-esque, you know, there's dukes and stuff. And the important thing is that our male lead got close to our female lead because our female lead's father was like a duke, or like a kind of equivalent of duke, or royal, some royalty equivalent or such. And the only reason he got close and fell in love with her was to get close to the duke, feed info to the revolution, and then overthrow her father. So then she finds this out, like the first episode, I believe she finds this out, and she confronts him. They're married, her father was overthrown, whatever. So she confronts him about it, and she's like, you love me so much, and then you fell out of love with me, or you never loved me from the start. You had ulterior motives. And he just admits it. And to be fair on her, she takes it like a champ. She's like, oh, it must have been difficult. And she's like, let's get divorced, right? Let's get divorced. You don't love me. I don't love you now. I knew you had reasons for marrying me that were not love or romance or relationship. Let's get divorced. And he says no. He says no to getting divorced because I don't know why. Like, there's no reason for him to stay married, right? There's no reason for him to continue being in this relationship because everyone around him hates her because she was ex-royalty. She was, did it say here? My father was the king's nephew, part of the royal family. Everyone hates her because she was part of the royal family, the royal family that they overthrew. And he's still married to her, and everyone's like, divorce her, kill her, get rid of her. And he's like, nah, she's my wife. But he hates her. And it goes into this confusing series of, they don't like each other. There's no reason for them to stay in a relationship or get married, but they're still gonna be in a relationship. And they're probably gonna, have a happily ever after. From what I've seen on, like, weirdly TikTok of all places, because this was a light novel before it was a webtoon. A lot of series are light novels before they're webtoons. We see that I think maybe they stay together or they actually fall in love, and I don't know how to feel about that. It's a series that, like, kind of icks me out, grosses me out a little bit, because he's basically holding her hostage in this relationship. It's not something I'm sure anyone is super excited about, but it's still here. I know it has its fans, its core fans, but I honestly can't say that I will ever be one of them. Unfortunately, it has its core fans in such a way that if we throw up my bingo card here, it does actually not have less than 6 stars rating on Webtoon. It has like 6.75, which is technically more. So it very much has an audience after it. I don't know who that audience is. If that's you, that's you. Pop off for this series. It is technically enemies to lovers, but it's an uncomfortable enemies to lovers. It's not for me, but I think if you're enjoying it, you're enjoying it. I didn't preface this, but I'm doing this more for fun. I'm not gonna be like, this series is trash, this series is amazing, this one deserves your hate. I'm not that kind of person. Like the series you like, dislike the series you dislike. I think as long as you're showing respect, that's all that matters. But not for me. If it's for someone, it's for someone. Enjoy it. We can move on to the next one though. Hiding in the Moon. feels like what's the series? It feels like the Midnight Poppyland. It feels like Midnight Poppyland. Granted, I've never read Midnight Poppyland, but it feels, based on what I've heard about Midnight Poppyland, it feels a lot like Midnight Poppyland. That being mafia romance. You know, one character is in like a mafia-esque relation and the other person does not appear to be. And I think the big difference is there's like supernatural stuff going on. There's these like these shadows that happening, and both our characters can see these shadows. They can see like the spirits. Where is it? Here it is, like the demon shadows in the background kind of thing. And it's like a relationship between these two people, one person going into hiding, and then they both can see this. I haven't read more than that. It seemed cute. Fine, I guess. You know, nothing crazy in my opinion. I think it is for a specific group of people, and that group of people is not me. I don't know how else to describe it other than that, but it does not feel like that to me. Something I did want to point out, I'm not an artist. I don't know anything about art. There was a thing while reading it, something threw me off, specifically about her face. Now, this is not to throw shade at art or the artist, but something about like this, for example, threw me off in a way that I was like, what is with this face that is like not clicking the right thing in my brain? Because there are moments where she looks great, you know, here she looks great, she looks great here, the side profile, she looks fine, here she looks great as well. Like something about like sometimes when she stares directly near at the like quote unquote camera, something throws me off. And I asked PJ Scribbles, who is a fellow Webtoon ambassador but also an artist who does a lot of art. I was like, hey, what's with this? Like, something about this is kind of clicking the wrong part of my brain. And she just mentioned that the eyes were a little too big and they're a little too low compared to the nose. Because that's why I think that's why most other shots look great. Because like here looks fine, here it throws me off a little bit, here it looks fine. And I think what doesn't help is that like you can't see the nose when it's directly facing you, so it makes it seem even worse. It's not an actual problem. It's just something that I've noticed. There's also nothing for the bingo card as well. So no one wins here. I think the thing is, nothing grabbed me about this series. Nothing really intrigued me. And I think a lot of people are intrigued by this premise, and I think that's great. I think it's fair to be intrigued by this premise. I just wasn't one of those people who was. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I like our main character. I like the male lead. There's cool supernatural mysteries going on. Everything about it is setting up to be a good kind of romance, drama, mafioso, supernatural series. If that seems like a lot, I mean, it could just be there's so much going on, but it's there for you to enjoy. So I think you should have fun with it. But we can move on to our next series. They wish to take away my child. We get another bingo card slot thing because our main character has pink hair. That's not our main character, but our main character has pink hair, so we can add another one there. It looks like genuinely I have planned this out. I have not planned this out, I promise you. You saw me generate them. This is our main character. It is technically not a royal revenge regression romance, even though we're seeing the future, and there's a specific reasons for that. Our main character, orphaned, got no parents. Her parents died, and she was kind of not sold into a marriage, but kind of like adopted to be married with someone's son. But we can skip this part because it's not important right now. But one of the things that her parents did give her was this necklace with a mirror inside it, and this lets you see the future 3 times. And after her parents die, I mean, they probably could have used it more, but after her parents die, she's given this years later. She's in school, she's gonna get married. She kind of thought her future was set up for herself, right? It's kind of like already established. She has nothing to look forward to. It's just gonna be basic and boring, which is when she sees the beginning scene that I skipped over, where she saw this blonde woman saying, "I'm gonna take your child away from you because you're terminally ill, and your husband is not gonna care for a terminally ill person." I can't say this is a Rashta bingo card, because I don't know enough about this blonde character, but it is an interesting premise of, oh, it's technically not a royal regression series because our main character hasn't died and gone back in time, but it is also technically not that. It's like a, oh, you know the future kind of thing, so you can prepare for it. Other than that, the thing is, with a lot of these I just read so many types of royal romances, and I do enjoy them is the thing, and that's why I think I wanted to like this more than I did. There's nothing wrong with it either, but you know, we have the pink-haired protagonist, we have the dark-haired, not emo boy. What's a good way of like non-emotional, stonewall, cold to everyone else, but I assume will warm up to her, that kind of trope. There's like so many of those specific. I don't know what about Webtoon authors is like, the perfect man is a guy who never shows his emotion until you win it over, and then he will only show it to you. And it's a trope that I am a-okay with. I do like that trope, but like as time goes on, it's like, okay, I have like 10 of these series. They're starting to blend together. Other than that, there's nothing that really sticks out to me in this series, other than she saw the future, and then she's terminally ill, and she's gonna get married, and yada yada yada. I think it's not a bad series if you don't read a lot of royal romances, and there's not one that's and it's not one that has like you get sent back in time kind of thing. But I think it's a good series overall. I just didn't snag onto it in the same way I've done with like My In-Laws Are Obsessed With Me, or I'm the Queen of His Life, or The Price of Your Everything, or there's a new series, I forgot what it's called. But you know, those types of series. I still think it's fun. I still think if you like it, I understand why you like it. It is something I think I would have liked given me not reading every single Webtoon series of the year. Because when you do read all of them, you kind of have to start picking and choosing which ones you're gonna add to your list, and you know, it needs to kind of stand out in a way that I don't think this series did. But if you're enjoying it, hey, I think it's understandable that you are having fun with it. I'm having fun with it because it gave me another bingo card, so let's go! Oh no, I hit my mic, I'm so sorry. Moving on! My comeback as the youngest member is another regression series, but we already marked it off for one. And I'm also making sure that we can't do the same series for multiple different squares, because I think that'd be a little unfair. But this series is a regression series, but it is a regression series using a truck. Truck-kun has been stamped off, which we'll get to. It's a regression series, but it's not a fantasy series. It's not like a royal series. It's a simple, modern day it's days here. Modern day series where a main character dies, goes back in time, has a second chance at life, but specifically we're doing idols. TV idols, they sing, they dance, that kind of idol stuff. Our main character was a part of this TV show called Project Stardust. Right? Project Stardust? Program Stardust what? Oh, audition program Stardust Project. That's what it's called. I don't know why they don't call it Project Stardust. Stardust Project. And he dropped out of it. But all the people who won find themselves in just different controversies. I know one person, why? Because they all have different controversies, which is, I think, very funny. One person assaulted someone. Another person got cheated on like someone's wife. Another person got into like drugs. Another person just left. Another person had like an anxiety attack. So everyone of this project just dropped out after so many controversies. And our main character is this guy. He failed Stardust Project. I'm never gonna call it Project Star. I'm never gonna not call it Project Stardust. He failed out of Stardust Project, and then he dies. Oh no. And then he dies by a truck-kun. Like I said, truck-kun is back here. Truck-kun sends him back in time to get another shot at being an idol. And overall, I think I'm weirdly loving it. It is never a series I thought I would really be enjoying, but it's kind of great, actually. I don't know why I like regression stuff. I think regression stuff kind of does a special thing in my brain I like smart characters, right? I think we all like smart characters just a little bit. We like characters that are clever, that are cunning, that can outsmart their opponents. And regression series do it in a way that makes sense naturally, right? You know, I can't be like, oh, of course our main character is naturally cunning and smart and clever, but I can, you know, in my mind piece it together that someone who's already been into the future, sent back in time, is clever and cunning and smart, who can outsmart their opponents and all that fun stuff. So I like regression series because of that. I like them being clever. And being in like a regression series, it makes sense that they are clever. And you know, there's so many regression series in isekais, reverse isekais, fantasy, romance, royalty kind of stuff. But having it with idols is a really interesting take because there's so many kind of like not unheard of, but like new kind of paths you can go with doing it with idols and stuff. One of them is funnily enough what was mentioned before at the very beginning, which is controversies. Because he kind of knows why certain things, since he knows the future stuff, he knows why and how and what certain things will occur in the future. So he knows like, oh, I should avoid these groups because they're gonna be controversial in like a couple months. Or, oh, you know what? I know what these people are looking for. They're looking for this or that or this. Like, it's a fun kind of take on the regression because it's not something that's been done a lot before. I think it's fair if you're not interested in idols. You know, I think idols is a different take on regression. But I think if you're at all interested in what this looks like, I think it's worth a shot at looking at and reading. There's only 10 episodes. I'd say that I think that's the biggest fault of every series that I'm covering. There's not enough to really grasp on to what makes it great and what makes it just alright. But I think so far it has the makings of being something that's pretty fun. Also, a lot of the characters are being shipped immediately, so if you like that, then that's great for you. But I'm enjoying this actually quite a bit more than I thought I would have. So that's this series. Let's move on to our next. King Game is not a series I'm really enjoying or did enjoy, but a series that I think is for, oh no, I accidentally pressed space, who cares, is for a specific demographic of people, and it is the demographic of lookism, of viral hit, of my life as a loser. It's that kind of group of people. Because it is an action, it's an action high school bullying kind of series. Ignore the truck-kun here. There's a different truck-kun. He's not on the he's not a thing. But actually, we have another bingo. Do we have another bingo? Okay, so one of the bingos I should mention is title logo cards. I think a lot of title cards, which are these like, it just says the name of the series. It is technically the logo of a webtoon. I'll be honest, every webtoon logo is kind of bad because most of them are just the title. So that's why I call it title card logo, because that's technically what it is. And I have one bingo slot I'll show on screen that is basic logo, or what is it? It is basic title card logo. And basic title card logo is for series that truly just use a font. Just one font across the board on their title card. And I don't know if this qualifies as one, because technically it is not just someone wrote down King Game with a font and then put the color and then put it on, because they also had to change the orientation and make it vertical. I don't know if this counts. I'll say it counts, but if you guys say it doesn't count, then I'm alright with saying it doesn't count. But I'll add it so it counts for me. If I see any comments saying it doesn't count, well, you know, I'll consider not qualifying it. But I actually don't know if that's, I have no, that bingo was just so far away from everything else, I don't really think it'll help. So let's move on to continue to talk about the series. It is the, like, bullying, kind of high school stuff. Bullying in high school is always kind of tricky. I think when doing it so much, it kind of loses a lot of the actual impacts that bullying has. Also, honestly, just not a fan of bullying overall in like most series. I think that's why I generally did like Lookism a lot, because it had bullying in like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then it was kind of like not bullying, or our main character standing next to characters who get bullied often, and he has like the body of a hot person. If you haven't read Lookism, it's very strange, but he has like the body of a hot person, and he kind of stands next to these people who consistently get bullied, and he's trying to be a force for good. That's why I don't generally like these kind of series. This one is also interesting because it has this mentality of the mob, or is it the mob or gangs? It's gangs. That's what it is. Where one of our main characters, our main character, he has a brother. Brother dies. That's the Truck-kun guy from before. Brother dies, and then he gets his brother's phone, and the brother was actually in charge of an entire gang of people. And then he gets to basically control his brother's entire gang from like his fingers, which I think is like so when people are bullying him, he can basically control this entire gang. Honestly, not for me. Truly not for me. There's nothing fun about it in my mind. I'm also just not a fan of like brutal, mature action. I think if you like it, you like it. Just not personally for me. I know there's a big like demographic for this kind of stuff. Just personally, not for me. I'm not a big fan. But I think there is people who should be interested in reading this series. But overall, it's fine. So we can move on to our next one. Katlaya Rising is a GL action romance fantasy series. There's a lot in it, but I think it's really fun so far, actually. It's a lot of fun. The idea is that this is Katlaya, and she works as an exterminator in Billy Town. This place, and it gets invaded by monsters all the time. And she works as an exterminator who destroys and kills these monsters and gets paid for it. It's fun. The art style is really cool, really action-based and oriented. There's a lot of mysteries around it already. There is no bingo square that I can put this in. I think except for Canvas Greenlight, but that's also already winter before spring, so that doesn't matter. But it is also just a lot of fun. She works to provide for orphans, and there's a like a weird kind of love. 1, 2, 3, 4 pentagon. I don't. She has 4 options for female partners. One is where is it? One's the girl who works with her at the orphanage. Another one's her like childhood best friend. Another one is her ex-girlfriend, and the last one is, what is it? Just like a new person that she hasn't met yet. Very action oriented, very high action, high octane action. There's monsters. There's cool fight scenes. It's fun. I'm really enjoying this series so far. And there's like a big mystery going on with with a girl who can, not a girl, a lady who can control this woman who can like control like the monsters maybe, or like other things. And then there's like a crazy what's the right word? It's an insane like dragon of light looking thing. Where is it? Yeah, this thing right here. This thing is insane and crazy looking. It looks so cool. Look at that. That looks insane. And look at, oh man, it kind of tears its face up to like blast you in the face with a beam of, what is it, understanding, I think it was. It's cool. There's a lot in it that I'm really enjoying about it. It's been a lot of fun, I think. I think the most recent chapter did kind of annoy me a little bit with maybe her. Was it her, or I think one of the other characters that kind of just it frustrated me a little bit, in the sense of a little bit of hypocrisy towards certain actions. But you know what, I think it's fine. I think that's like one blemish in a pretty good series overall that I'm really enjoying. It's no bingo squares for me, but it's a good series I think you guys should check out. Let's move on. The Apothecary Prince is a tieback / sequel to the Greatest Estate Developer. So like the Greatest Estate Developer, we follow a down on his luck main character in the modern world. He dies and gets sent to a fantasy world from a book he's read, but he gets sent into the body of a truly terrible person. But this terrible person, and like the Greatest Estate Developer, this terrible person is dying or will die soon. We follow, I forgot his name. What's his name? It's not Lloyd. Lloyd's the other one. Hold on, I'll get it. It's right here. What was going on? Oh, this it? I can't say that. I don't know how to say any of that. But from the book, from the web novel or light novel, Emperor of the Runeblade, yada yada yada. He gets sent into this body of this character, Lashiel. This dude is gonna die. His body is truly like trash. He is super sick, and our main character is actually a doctor. He's someone who studied medicine, practiced medicine, and a lot of the series is about him getting medicine-related powers, like the Greatest Estate Developer, and just doing like acupuncture, being able to get people like getting a knight, I think is his objective in the most recent episode, finding medicines and all that fun stuff, and making sure he can live as long as he can, or like outlive his supposed lifespan by like restarting his body kind of thing. It is very Greatest Estate Developer because it is kind of in the same universe as the Greatest Estate Developer, but it's not gonna fill the same void if you think it's gonna be like another Greatest Estate Developer. I think thinking about it like that is gonna throw you off. Is gonna make you not like it as much. Because overall, I do like the Greatest Estate Developer much more, but I just think because they put more emphasis on what is the right word, on the construction aspect. And while I think they put a lot of emphasis on the medicine aspect, I think it's also a little less than the construction aspect of the Greatest Estate Developer. Goodness, these titles are so long. But it's a lot of fun, actually. It's still a lot of fun. It still feels very similar to the Greatest Estate Developer. If you want to add another series to your thing, it also means that I can knock out a bingo square from tie back to another author series, because it's tie back to the Greatest Estate Developer. So we got another one, baby. I'm not sure how much that actually helps. Does it even help at all? No, it does not. Tragic. But it's fun. I'm enjoying it. Main characters, fun. Side characters, pretty fun. Nothing wrong with it yet. But it's. I don't think it has not found the same footing that the Greatest Estate Developer has found. But I do have high hopes that it will continue and grab me in a certain way. So we can move on to our next series. Return of the Genius Player is a reverse isekai, which means I can check it off the bingo square, which is very helpful. I'm gonna win. I bet I'll win. I actually don't know if I'll win. Reverse isekai, Return of the Genius Player, reverse isekai. Our main characters are hunters, awakened ones. They have powers, yada yada yada, and they fight monsters, but they don't actually. 30 years ago, hunters were a big thing because they fought off monsters, but it's not a problem anymore. So there's a new kind of wave of, it's now a sport, Hunters League. And our guy was the best. He was amazing. He won so many leagues. He was the top of the class. He was a legendary player, and then he fell off hard. He was in controversies. They wanted to get rid of him. He became more of like a figurehead for his corporation. Then he died because of Truck-kun's back. He died, gets sent back in time, and he's sent back in time, and he has a special ability, which lets him. He has a special power, and the reason he kind of hit his peak early was because his special power was I think called Full Bloom, which means that the longer he waited to activate the skill, the stronger it got. But he didn't activate it. He activated it too quickly. Full Bloom, here it is. Once you awakened it, all your stats increase, but proportional to your rank. If he waited a little longer, he could have been the best of the best. But he decided, but his manager told him to do it in high school. And then he gets some back of time, then he has the chance to do it all over again, kind of thing. I'm enjoying it. I'm a fan of it. I like the idea of hunters as a sport. That actually is a much better, that's a much better trope than you think it would be. Of our hunters are kind of doing objectives based on games, on leagues, on sports, and having to fulfill certain requirements to beat it. It's the equivalent of if you read Mythic Item Obtained, it's like the first arc of Mythic Item Obtained. When he gets into the school, he has to take this test. It's basically that, but seemingly for everything. And he uses guns. He uses guns as his main weapon. But it's interesting, and it's been a lot of fun for me specifically. I think honestly, there's not too much to say other than it's fun, because there's not a lot else that's been going on in this series. Since it's also another regression series, it means he has knowledge of the future and can outsmart his opponents. He's also smart enough. He's also been experienced in fighting, so he's smart although he's not strong, he is smart and can outskill his opponents, kind of thing. It's a lot of fun. Personally, a lot of fun. There's nothing wrong with it. It is just a lot of fun. I gotta stop saying there's nothing wrong with it, because honestly, that's a negative way of saying it's just been fun. There is no big reason to grab this series over every other series. I think the main trope that it makes it stand out is the fact that it's in a hunter's league instead of just an actual life or death situation, where instead of going into dungeons and exterminating monsters, it takes place more as a sport. And I think that's a cool way of taking the what is it, the awakened reverse isekai hunters skills systems kind of trope. It's something that from my mind, hasn't been done a lot. I know it usually is done in specific arcs, where it's there's a tournament arc, and here's the tournament arc where you see the league. But here, that's basically all there is. It's only league, and I think that's a fun take on it. I assume from my point of view, I assume they'll bring back some of the monsters. The way they phrased it at the beginning was monsters were a big deal, but then not anymore. I think they're gonna come back and be a big deal afterwards, and he's gonna have brought up his skills to the point where he can have a team and then protect and save the world, yada yada yada. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm sure if you like reverse isekais and skills and hunters and all that stuff, you'll enjoy it as well. But yet again, it's good. So we can move on to our next series. My Super Eldritch High School Melee Festival takes place in a high school that is mythical, Eldritch. Our main character goes to a school where there's monsters and creatures and curses and death. She's seemingly just a normal human who goes to this school of how much ESP do you have? Are you just touched? Are you blessed? Are you cursed? And then the school is split into 4 houses. And then, there's the classics of demons, of evil angels, of mutants, of monsters. And then our main character gets a love letter to be confessed to by someone. And then it turns out that she's being confessed to by 2 heads of the houses. If we can skip to that part. She's getting confessed to 2 heads of the houses. At the same time, the 2 heads, what is it, Darius and Victor? What's his name? Victor and Darius. The 2 heads of the houses. He's a werewolf, and then he's a vampire-esque kind of creature. I don't really remember. It's pure goofy. I think the title makes sense. It's gonna be a goofy series where, people just kind of are students in a monster-filled world. But I think the twist is that she is also... Oh no. The twist is also that she is a moon child, apparently, and then she's super strong. She's stronger than even the heads of the houses. and she has moon powers. And there's like a big action fight scene thing that's going on. It's called Melee Festival, so I assume there's like this big tournament arc going on. The art is really cool, I'll say. I mean, like, this is a really cool shot. I don't know why this shot is so cool, but it's a comedy. You're supposed to have fun with it. And if this does seem like a fun thing for you, go for it. It's not a bad series by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, there's a lot going on in the series. But you know, it has intense characters. It has a comedic plot and story. It has fun powers and world building. It's cool. It's really cool. And if you want to check it out, you can check it out. But it does also give me another bingo square. Let's go. This is a mouthful of a title. Do I actually have that one? I do have that one. It's fun. It's fun. It's cool. I love the art style. I like a lot about it. I just didn't pick it up. I don't actually have a reason why I didn't pick it up. There's nothing that didn't grab me. I just don't think I wanted to continue reading it for some reason. But it's fun. I have enjoyed what I've read, and I think if any of this has stood out to you, you can enjoy it as well. So let's move on to our next series. Wail of a Dragon's Revenge is crazy. It is an insane action series that I don't actually think gives me any bingo squares, unfortunately, but it is still crazy action-based. It is brutal. There's monsters, there's mythos, there's world building, there's bloody action. It's insane. I am currently reading it. I maybe have kind of realized that I think revenge action series are a very dark path to go down. I'm actually unsure of how much I can show about this series because it is brutal 80% of the time. It has a lot of blood and gore and monsters and ripping people apart and consuming them and tearing off their flesh. It is intense. The general idea is that there's these beasts called mythics, and then the gods gave the mythics human forms, then they became incarnates, I believe. Yeah, and then there's those incarnates who became evil, so the evil incarnates, evil deities. Our main character, I believe, is not an evil deity. He does look like it, though. He is not an evil deity, and his goal is to defeat the evil deities and defeat the angel incarnate. What is the correct term? It's an intense, brutal action series. There's so many. I love the monsters, though. It kind of feels like a fantasy kaiju battle all the time, where there's these like new monsters he's facing all the time, and he transforms into like a Godzilla looking dragon thing, and then he fights like wendigos and like massive crow bird things. Like a bone dragon. It's been crazy action, crazy brutal action, I'll say as well, but it is also wildly beautiful. This is a specific category of people who like intense action. You know, if you liked, what was it? I forgot. But it was like a series that came out last month, where a superhero goes into like a prison and he has to execute all the criminals. If you like that series, you're gonna like this series a lot as well. But it's like the fantasy equivalent of that. It's intense though. It's intense. The art is beautiful, but it's intense though. So I think it is for a specific group of people. Not super me. I am reading it. It is a series that I am hesitant on. I think one of the things is this idea of revenge, especially in action, can be so brutal and so intense. But I like a lot of other things that it has going for it. So I think I will continue to enjoy reading it. But we can move on to our next series. Princess Hurricane is another tie back to another series, but we already filled that square, unfortunately. So we're gonna do the isekai trope, or the isekai square, and I'll get into it in a sec. It is by the same author as Nina's Magic Chest. If you don't know Nina's Magic Chest, It is, I'll say, nothing like Nina's Magic Chest. Nina's Magic Chest is like a horror thriller series about the dangers of like addiction and how far you'll go for what you want. This is just a goofy series about a really buff guy and a very sweet, kind princess who get switched places. So the buff guy has gotten isekai'd into the position of the princess, and the princess got isekai'd into the position of the buff delinquents. But they didn't just get isekai'd into the bodies. Their bodies full swapped plate. Oh my god, I knocked over so many things. Their bodies just full swapped places. So it's like, so he's going to like an all boys school, right? Let me show you. First, it's this guy, right? This is the delinquent. He's this tall, 6'5" maybe. He's so buff and strong. He's want to fight everyone ever. And then I think the second he gets punched, they switch places. And he gets transformed into. He gets switched places with Princess Lily, I believe her name is. What is it like? Did I punch her? Yeah, the transfer student turned into a girl. Who am I? My age. I don't remember a thing. And then it's mainly following this red dude, kind of trying to like weasel his way to being her best friend. And then here's the buff dude who gets like switched places with the princess. It's so much fun. It's so much fun, guys. I cannot believe how goofy this series is, but I'm enjoying it so much. It has been a blast reading it every week. Every episode makes me laugh so much. There's so much in it that it's just goofy and fun and great all the time. And I love all the characters. I love that he's full just like weaseled his way into pretending they're best friends. She doesn't like fighting, so when he's like, oh, you wanted to be number one, you want to fight people, you know, everyone who fights, no one should fight ever, even though he fights all the time, kind of thing. They're like, oh, have you ever hit someone? No, I've never been in a fight. It's just so fun. It's just so much fun. And I'll say the art style finally matches the vibe of the series. Because in Nina's Magic Chest, the art style was supposed to work against the series and like the tropes and the cliche, not the tropes and cliches, the premise and the vibe of the series. But here it works so well with it, and I'm just having the best time with it. It's been going great. I'm enjoying it so much. So we can move on to our next series. Not So Silent is a series I'm not personally reading, but it's a cute series. It's a BL romance story between like the school overachiever and the new student who can't hear and needs hearing aids. There's a lot of stories that have a character with hearing aids. I know this one, I think, what is it? Wannabe Friends has it. I know Sweetheart has like people speaking with sign language. There's a lot of series like this. It's super cute. I think this ties back into like what I said at the beginning, where a lot of GL romance stories are just sad, just a little sad, just a little, or if not a lot sad. And a lot of BL romance stories are just very cute and wholesome and fun and sweet, and just very much falls into the cute, wholesome, sweets category. Nothing wrong with the series. I gotta stop saying that. It's a cute series. It's an enjoyable read from what I've read. I didn't grab onto it. No reason not to, I guess. I just didn't latch me. I think a thing is I think I have my fill of high school romances. I just kind of hit a peak of like, do I really want to read more high school romances? And the answer was no. The answer is just kind of like, no, I don't really want to read more high school romances. I've definitely gotten more than I do actually need. But it is a cute BL romance story that I think is fun. It's an enjoyable read. Read it, check it out. Oh my goodness. Let's move on quickly. The Fish That I Loved is a series that's it technically, so I do this chronologically because I think that's probably the easiest way of explaining it, because like if I try to separate it by genres, it doesn't work, because like a fantasy series, what's a fantasy series, right? A fantasy series can be action or romance, so like separating it like that doesn't really help anyone. I do this chronologically. I forgot 2 series on accident until now, and I was like, why haven't I talked about these yet? The Fish That I Loved is a very cute romance story, actually. A very cute, sweet romance story, mainly following a merman and this lady girl, our main female character. It is cute, nice, fun. I love the dynamic our 2 characters have. It is not an enemies to lovers or anything like that, but I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is a very simple art style. A very simple logo, but actually never mind, because that's King Game. Dang it, what is this one? What is this one? Is it bingo? Oh, there is a bingo here. This is fake dating. Yeah, I knew there was a bingo here. This is fake dating. Our main characters have to get into a fake relationship because I like the merman lore here, where mermen aren't mermen. This guy's he's a merman, but he's not a merman here. He's in a costume here. So merman will turn into, or humans when they're born, but will turn into mermen permanently if they fall in love, I believe it is. Or if they maybe kiss. I forgot what the exact wording was, but something about them falling in love and them kissing and then like completing stuff makes them turn into a merman permanently. And it is only a male thing, which I think is interesting. It's very fun. It's very fun. I like both our characters. Our male lead is a lot of fun. Our female lead is really interesting as well, because our female lead is technically a felon. She sorry, is technically, so she got charged, she was arrested, she spent time in jail, and then she got out, and that's why she works all these different like part-time jobs, because she can't land a stable job, because her sister and her sister's fiance or her husband kind of got her into hot water legally, so she was put away, and I think that's a really cool but it's a really cool premise that I don't see a lot in series, talking about like convicted criminals, like ex-criminals who've gone out and like are trying to make their way back through society but can't because they have so much going against them. But there is fake dating, because these 2 enter into a fake contract, fake dating contract. So yeah, we got another thing on the bingo and now, oh, did we just get bingo? Woo! We just got bingo! Yes, regression canvas. Our regression series is a Reincarnator. Canvas series, our canvas greenlight is Winter Before Spring or Katlaya Rising. Take your pick. Reverse Isekai, that is Return of the Genius Player. Pink hair protagonist is They Wish to Take Away My Child, and fake dating is The Fish That I Love. Thank God I remembered this series. Get wrecked, nerds. Now you have to do something. I don't know what. I 100% thought I was gonna lose this month. I didn't think there were that many this month. Nice. Okay, great. No, I love this series. It's a fun series. I do enjoy it a lot. I think it is a cool series. Fun series. Our characters have great chemistry together, and it's just been a lot of fun. So we can move on to our next series, the second series that I forgot this month. Return of the King of Hell is fine. Is okay. It mainly focuses on the retired King of Hell who gave up his slot, his spot of judge and king to someone else, and then that someone else, I think, brought these like whites up from hell into the human plane, and he has to go to the human plane and solve the problems. I think the new king's name is like Harry or Henry, which is hilarious. The reason I'm not so grasped onto this series is because it feels like it's action for action's sake. Like, there doesn't seem to be a lot more than retired King of Hell has to go up to the worlds, fight off these monsters, and that's it. Like that's it. There's nothing else that really grabs my attention in the same way that other action series do. Because I think it's important to remember that action is not a action for action's sake, but we have to have a reasoning for action. You know, action is kind of a continuation of character. Characters fighting are, you know, their personalities, their interests, something about it colliding in a way that makes it so that these characters were put in a position where they need to fight. This kind of just feels like it's, you know, action for action's sake. And you know, that's fine. I think there are people who like this action, and I think the action's great. The art style's spectacular. There's cool powers and fight scenes and all that fun stuff. But to me, it feels like action for action's sake. And I'm just personally not that big of a fan, but I think overall it had a lot going for it. You know, Retired King of Hell, there's whites, there's powers, there's all that stuff. So there's a lot for you to enjoy. Oh, there's the hollows, not the whites. Whites are in like martial arts series, Undead Whites. Whites, right? That's what it's called, right? Whites, WIGHT is what it's called, I believe. And then there's some stuff in the mortal realm with like people who have to fight these whites or whatever. For me, just personally, not a big fan, but I think it is still all right. It is still a solid series. Nothing I personally am grasped onto, but I think someone is grasped onto, and I think that's all that matters. So we can move on to our next series, finally going back chronologically. S.K.T. Swallow Knight Tales is a pretty fun series overall. The general idea, there are these gods, they do things, yada yada yada. But the general idea is we follow someone who is a Swallow Knight. Swallow Knight is kind of a lesser knight. It's a knight who acts more like a host, you know, who kind of like schmoozes with royalty. But we follow a knight who was actually just like a male host. Who was just a male host whose job was to do host things. What do hosts do? They schmooze clients. They get like alcohol sales, all that stuff. And it follows like this person's rise to being a knight, because that's what he wanted to be his entire life. He's wanted to be a knight, and he's wanted to like protect people and save the day and all that fun stuff. But he's always kind of been like a weakling a little bit. He's always kind of been a little weak. So when he's finally got the chance to be a knight, he got like a letter of recommendation for being a Swallow Knight, which is kind of like not a knight. It's kind of just like a little bit of like a lesser knight. And as he grows older, he becomes knight, and we're following his now lead up into being a knight. We're following those knight adventures, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm actually quite enjoying this trope in this series, where we follow someone who's technically not super strong, like physically, but he has like the right heart of becoming a knight, and he's a very beautiful man, which the series loves to point out. And I like his personality a lot. There's a lot of eccentric characters, and I think that makes it stand out even more. It's just so great. I'm really enjoying it. It's simple, I think. It's a little simple, but I think it is building up to something bigger, and I think it is great. I'm really enjoying what this series is putting down. There is no bingo card slot that this falls into, but it doesn't matter because I already won, baby. So I think it's a great fantasy. There's a little bit of action. I do wish there was more action in it, but it feels more like a slice of life. It feels like slice of life not adjacent, but it feels like slice of life is next to action, or should be in front of action more than action should be in front of slice of life, where it's more about the characters and their interactions versus the action itself. But I'm enjoying it a lot so far, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So we can move on to our next series. Taejin, Legend of Yang Metal is a sick title, but it's a really cool series as well. I'm actually really hyped to be talking about this one. It is a mix of Jake Long, American Dragon, and Avatar: The Last Airbender, where our dude, it takes place like modern world, where these demons come out and they fight, and we follow a guy who has the power of Baza? I don't know, but he has metal bending powers. it feels so Saturday morning cartoon, and I love it. I love that kind of like energy and vibe it has going for it. Our main character, just, I think super stylish is the right word to say. The series has like so much charm and personality to it. It just feels very like, oh, our main character, like I don't know why I love this like running panel of just like him running through a hallway, like a long running shot, but it's just a lot of fun and charm to it. The metal bending itself is also pretty cool. We haven't really gotten a lot of like the magic side of things, but we have gotten a little bit of like the metal bending prowess that he has. We see these demons that come out and try to take him down, and then when he fights these demons, he's using like metal from the dumpster to like block the attacks. He's using what is it? He uses like the what is it? Like the sewer. Oh no, not the sewer grate. Oh yeah, he does. He uses the sewer grate to like cut them in half. It's a lot of fun that I'm really enjoying. There's so much world building to it. There's so much action into it. There's so much character development to be had. I believe his name is Taejin. Honestly, I don't know how to say, because my mind when I see it goes to Taejin, the spice that I have a lot. But it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the series a lot. I feel like it's one of the most hyped I've been about a series, but it's great so far. There's a lot in it that I'm really enjoying. The characters are fun. I think there's just a reference to Chopper from One Piece. Yeah, look at that. Look at that Chopper One Piece reference. It's a very weird call out, but I think that's kind of the style it's going for. It's fun, it's stylish, it's exciting, Saturday morning cartoon kind of humor and charm. I'm loving it. It's great. So make sure you go check it out if any of that has called out to you. So we're gonna move on to our next series that I cannot show too much about. Ooh. My Demon Wish. I'm gonna start a little bit past the first episode. I'll say this fills another bingo square, and it fills the quote-unquote intimate scene. Even if it's a dream, it fills the intimate scene. What's with Webtoon series and starting with an intimate scene? There's been like 3 or 4 Webtoon series that have started with just, I don't know why I'm beating around the bush, with just like a sex scene. It's a little weird. It's a little much. Honestly, even now, there it is, blurry. Does that count? YouTube, are you gonna smite me down for this? Oh boy. Even now, I'm trying. This series was all over the place, I think. Even excluding the, sex scene. Even excluding that, this series is kind of all over the place. I don't really know what it wants. It wants to be a horny romance, a very not horny. That's too mean on it. A very spicy romance. Where, I think if you think that kind of vibe ends after episode 1, it does not end after episode 1. There's also like a random weird supernatural element to it, where our main character has like a guardian angel. The dude that had the sex dream is like a demon. There's witches and stuff. It feels very strange in my mind to have like so many different concepts and ideas and like things you want to do piled up in like the first couple episodes. I don't think if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's bad because of that stuff, but personally not for me. I go enjoy it if you will. I think don't tell anyone that you enjoy this series. It's a little much for my taste. I can't be reading this out in public kind of thing. There's no guarantee that reading this will be safe for you in public. Oh boy, let's move on quickly. The Reason for the Twin Ladies' Disguise is a series I'm enjoying quite a bit, and is also another series to mark off with the bingo card. It is a royal regression revenge romance, which kind of explains the series a little bit. Royal Revenge Regression Romance series mainly focus on royalty, dukes, duchesses, princess, kings, yada yada yada, that die due to an unfortunate situation. They get sent back in time to get revenge on those who've wronged them, and then fall in love miraculously. This series takes the revenge. So the idea is that our two main characters die. Our main character is Elodie is her name, I believe. Liam, sweet brother, sis. Anyways, our female lead dies, and her entire family also dies. Gets sent back in time, and this time to kind of get revenge on the prince who killed them. Decides to switch places with her brother because she's a better sword fighter, and he's supposed to be sent to like a sword fighting knight academy. So they switch places because that's where he started getting bullied by the prince. So she could kind of raise the prestige of her family by becoming one of the best knights. So she has to disguise herself as her brother. Good thing they're twins. And so she encounters a bunch of she encounters the prince. She encounters a bunch of other people who are like royalty-esque. It's a very Mulan kind of situation. It's fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. I think maybe they're shipping the main girl and the prince a little too much for someone who in the future killed her entire family. It just feels a little weird, but I think we're getting a lot more redemption with the prince way sooner than any other series that does anything like that. Yeah, we're getting like so much like reasoning for like certain mentalities he has, and like certain reasons for like why he's like not evil, but like why he's so malicious towards her brother in the past. I don't love the ship that they're very clearly pushing. It's just a lot of fun as well. I do like the Mulan situation anyways. I don't love the ship between her and main prince. But, you know, being a, like, royal regression revenge romance, she has, like, 5 other options. At least she has at least 2 other options currently. Not including ex-prince over here. So, overall, fun, enjoyable. Another royal regression revenge series, but I think there's a certain twist and charm it has, because I think a lot don't focus on swords fighting, on her becoming, like, fighting and all that fun stuff. And I think it's an enjoyable read. And a very different read compared to the other ones I've read. So we can move on. I don't think this actually has a bingo. Does it have a bingo? Oh yeah, never mind. Moving on. Degree of Love is, I know I won bingo, but it falls under chronically single. So I should explain this trope. Chronically single focuses on people who haven't dated. Who usually are pretty content with not dating, and through some means and through some hilarious hijinks because of a romance thing, they end up dating. You know, it's either they just haven't dated anyone in years, or they haven't dated anyone at all, and through some roundabout means, they find love and yada yada yada. These are, I think, specifically focus on the couples outside of high school, because, you know, in high school it doesn't matter if you haven't dated anyone, but like into college, but I think specifically usually past college into like the workforce, if you haven't dated anyone for a while, or you just don't want to date, that kind of thing. But I think the main point is that there's an emphasis on the fact that this main character, usually female, because that's the thing in romancers, this main character hasn't dated or hasn't been dating for a while. And that's kind of this thing where she doesn't date throughout high school, and then she wants to date in college, but then she can't find out how to date in college, and then she has her best friend who was a male from her past, her childhood best friend, come and try to set her friends up. But then other things happen, and then her male best friend is a little weird and is like a little like protective over her, I think is the right word. A little not controlling, just protective, I think is the right word. And then they maybe fall in love. it's pretty basic. I think it's a pretty basic trope and series. Nothing that really grabbed my attention, and I think that's fine. You know, like I said, college, school romances, unless there's a specific thing that makes it stand out, I don't, or probably won't ever care too much about it. That's maybe why I've kind of fallen off the school dating trend. But you know, if it's there for you if you want that. There's nothing that makes it stand out like our next series. Ooh, I already did that trope, dang it. Wanna see my cat has a cat, and that's all you need to know. I love cats. I have a cat. This is a story about a happily married couple who have pets and they're living their best life, and then tragically our main character dies. Unfortunate. And then it's sent back in time to, I think, 10 years. Yeah, sent back in time 10 years to you know, make her ex-husband technically fall back in love with her and enjoy life once again, to find all her pets as well. You know, it's gone to the point, you know, like specific tropes have gone like to the point of being overused when they are very much made fun of. And in this series, it kind of mocks isekais and regression stuff a lot. Because truly, like, the reason she dies is because she saves her best friend from getting hit by Truck-kun, not the main character. But she gets hit by Truck-kun, and then, like, God or whatever is like, oh, you weren't supposed to die. I was supposed to isekai your friend into a different life. You know, there's a bit of a mishap. She was supposed to be switched to a different world. So it's my fault that you get to do it. But she's like, no, I was happy with my life. And then she's sent back in time to get another chance at her ex-husband, or technically ex-husband, and get all of her pets back. This is like, and then she's sent back in time to college, because that was 10 years ago. This is what I said about, a college series or a school series needs to be more than just a school series, because I think this is more than just a school series. You know, there's school elements here, but I don't think school is like the main part of the series. Instead, I think it is finding her pets once again is kind of the main point of the series. It's finding or fighting to get her family back. And I do really enjoy this. It's also just a very sweet series. The cat is great. I love the little cat. Where is it? Let's see. I want to see the cat. Look at the cat. He's so cute. He's so great. The cat's great. I very much also do like the romance between our two leads. There's just a lot of chemistry and a lot of love in this series that I think is very enjoyable to read. So overall, 10 out of 10. It's not 10 out of 10. Overall, it's a very cute, charming series that I do think you could check out. So let's move on to our last series. The Genius Spirited Streamer. Yeah, okay, that's the right word. The Genius Spirited Streamer is a VR capsule gaming kind of thing where our main character is like a shaman kind of thing, where he has shaman-like powers. He can kind of see spirits in like current predict futures and things like that. And then uses his spirit power to dominate as a capsule gamer. It's a lot of fun it is a lot of fun. I don't know why I was trying to be like but it's a lot of fun. I'm just not reading it. When I checked it out, or when it came out, there was one episode out. And I think having one episode out is kind of a big problem, because if there's only one episode out, you can't really grasp onto anything other than the premise. And I don't think there's anything wrong with reading a series just for the premise. I've done that a bunch, and I think I've done that a lot here. But there's also kind of no reason not to continue reading it if there's just like, it's just like a VR capsule game but with spiritual powers. And I read a lot of VR capsule games. I read what is it, The Strongest Florist, the Plus 99 Wooden Stick, World's Strongest Troll, Bad Ending Maker. I read a lot of those. So if there's nothing else, like, yeah, spiritual powers is fun, but it kind of just feels like, here's a reason why they're strong. They're strong. Get used to it. But it's fun. It's, from what I remember, the art's pretty. The characters are fun. Everything about it is an enjoyable read. There's just nothing grabbed me and my attention as much as, you know, I think World's Strongest Troll really did kind of solidify what it means to be a good VR capsule game. And plus 99 Reinforcement and Stake is just a blast to read. But it's an enjoyable experience that I have read, but I just didn't continue reading it. Honestly, mainly because it slipped my mind, and I never really just want to get back into it. But I know it is fun, and I know if you enjoy it, then that checks out. So those were all the series that have come out. I'm gonna quickly just go through some of the stuff. Like I said, I wanted to quickly go through. These are the statistics of what I'm currently reading. I am reading a majority of the things that came out this month, because I think a lot of the things that come out this month were really good and were a lot of fun. Some of the things just didn't interest me or appeal to me, but I do think a lot of the things were a lot of fun to read. And I forgot what the wood is, but you know, it was there. It's just an enjoyable read. A lot of good things came out this month, or in the month of May. Which I'll say is not the same thing as June. June kind of had some misses. Had some misses. But overall, it was a lot of fun. Also, can I do this? There you go. Also, a lot of genres came out. Actually, no, I lied. A lot of the basic genres came out. Comedy, fantasy, drama, action, romance. These are is that 5? Those are the 5 genres you're gonna get in basically every month. You're always gonna get those 5 genres. If it's a horror thriller, that stand out. Slice of life is also pretty stand out, surprisingly. Historical, mystery, thriller, anything else is a standout. Unsurprisingly, romance was number 1, followed by action, followed by fantasy, followed by drama, followed by comedy. That's usually how it goes. There's nothing wrong with that. Romance and action are very popular, so it makes sense that they're targeting those. But, you know, those are just the tropes that have come out. Not the tropes. Those are just the major genres that have hit the Webtoon space. But those are all the Webtoon series that have come out in the past month. All the series of May. Some of them were great. Some of them were, you know, not for me. Some of them were, I'll be honest, a little weird. But, you know, I think every series deserves a chance to be checked out at least once. So if any of these series have called out to you, or any of these series makes you think of something like, oh, that reminds me of that, check it out. There's no reason not to. You're losing maybe a couple minutes of your day if you decide to check it out and don't like it. Also, I did definitely win bingo. So I don't know what we can do for me winning bingo and me losing bingo. If you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments down below. But that's all for today, so I hope I'll catch you next time. Take care.